Okay, welcome. Today we're going to watch another video, and this video will be writing or learning to use interval notation. So our objective today will be students will be able to write an interval given by an inequality into interval notation. One more time. Students will be able to write. There's our action verb. We're going to write. What are we writing? An interval given by an inequality into what we call interval notation. All right, remember during the video, you can pause it to get caught up, and you're probably going to do a lot of pausing today. Rewind it so you can go back and listen to things again, and then jot down any questions you might have so we can discuss them in class. So go ahead and take your notes out, write your objective down, and we'll get going. Okay, so first of all, what is an interval? Well, an interval is nothing more than a connected subset of numbers. So usually when we see intervals, and you've seen them before, they're given to us by inequalities. We could say our interval are all the x's that are less than or equal to 5, and equal to means including 5. So if we think all the numbers that are less than or equal to 5, we would say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and then we have all the negatives, -1, -2, all the way to negative infinity. We could show that graphically on like this. Closed dot, because of the equal sign, the closed dot indicates that 5 is in the set of excuse me, 5 is in our interval. It's included inside. And we point an arrow toward the left to all the numbers that are smaller than 5. Here's another one. X is greater than or equal to 8. Again, because it's equal to, closed dot on the 8. He's a little off, but that's okay. Closed dot on the 8. And we're pointing the arrow in the direction of all the numbers that are greater than 8, like 9, like 10, like 11, and so forth. So that points to the right. Now, if you've forgotten the less than and greater than symbols, what they mean, remember this is a less than with a line underneath means equal to, so you can have it with or without the line. This is a greater than with or without the line. So make sure you jot that down in your notes as well in case you've forgotten. Here's a third example. Now this interval has a beginning and the end. The two previous ones went to infinity or negative infinity. This one says we want all the x's that are greater than -1 but are also less than 5. So we can say -1 is less than x, but x is less than 5. And the graph looks like this. And I simply say these as x's in between the two numbers. Notice we don't have the equal signs underneath. Therefore, we have open dots. They indicate that these numbers are not in my set. So we want all the numbers that are less than 5, but not including 5, and go down till you hit -1, but not including -1. The reason we use 5 and -1 and not 4 and 0 is we got to remember there are numbers between 4 and 5, all these little fractions. Between 0 and -1, there's infinite amount of numbers in there, and we have to include those in our sets. So this is just a quick review of what an interval is, and I'm pretty sure that you've seen these examples before, something similar. So let's take a look at what they look like in interval notation. Okay, so we're going to do the same ones. Oh, well, sorry, let's discuss what interval notation is. An alternative to expressing your answers as an inequality, and that's all interval notation is. Okay, when using interval notation, the symbol parenthesis means not included. The bracket means included. So parenthesis is not included or open. Bracket means included or closed. And we have to associate those with the open and closed dots. So if we remember the previous example, if we had a open dot on a number as it went to a certain direction, that means open dot, it means not included. And you have to associate it with the bracket. They're identical. Closed dot on the number, put some arrows there so we can see what we're doing here. A closed dot on the number meant included, means the number is a set, or number was in the set, so we're going to use a bracket on that one. So these two are identical, they mean the same thing. Okay, so let's translate or rewrite it to an equivalent form into interval notation. Okay, so here's our examples using the same ones as the previous. Now, if you wrote those down previously, you don't have to rewrite them. We're just going to put in the interval notation. So the first one we looked at was the inequality is x is less than or equal to 5. The interval looks like this. Since x goes, let's look at it graphically, all the way to negative infinity, so we have negative infinity over here, all the way to the left. Go ahead and add that in. See, over here is negative infinity. That's the farthest we can go. Okay, so all these answers are less than 5. So we always start from the left side in interval notation. We go from the left, so we're going to start with negative infinity, and we go till the ending point on the right. The right ends at 5. So interval notation is negative infinity, comma, 5. Now, since 5 is a closed dot, it's included in the set, we use a bracket. Now, infinity, we always use a parenthesis. Always. Infinity is undefined, so we don't use a bracket and say, hey, this is the ending point, because it doesn't end. Okay, so always use a parenthesis. All right, let's look at another example. Same one, this is the inequality, x is greater than or equal to 8. And again, if you wrote it previously, don't rewrite it, just add the interval notation next to it. So this time we are looking for all the numbers that are greater than or equal to 8. So we have a closed dot on 8, and remember close means bracket. And we go all the way to positive infinity. So interval notation, again, we start from the leftmost number. It's an 8, so I write an 8. It's a closed dot, so I use the bracket, parenthesis, and goes all the way to infinity, so that's my furthest most right number. Write infinity, and infinity always has a bracket. Go ahead and put that in your notes. Infinity always use a bracket. Back that up. Infinity always use a parenthesis. Parenthesis. Make sure I say it straight so I don't mess your notes up too bad. Parentheses go with infinities. Okay, a little tongue-tied during this lesson, so bear with me. Let's look at the last example we looked at. Okay, this interval was actually in between two numbers. It didn't go to infinity. So again, we always start with the left number. Which in this case is -1, open dot. So we come over here, we start with our left side, -1, parenthesis, because -1 is not in the set, so no bracket this time, open dot. And our right-handed value where it ends is +5. Make sure you get the comma in there. And because 5 is not included in the set, we use parenthesis. Okay, that is interval notation. So go ahead and tidy up your notes, write down any questions you might have. Go ahead and possibly re-listen to the video. And again, the concept is simple. Start from the left side, write the number down. Decide if it's a bracket or parenthesis, meaning is the number included or not, is it opened or closed. Then go all the way to the right side, wherever it ends. Write that number down, whether it's a number or infinity. Decide if it's included in the set or not, bracket or parenthesis. Then you have it. And remember that if it goes to infinity, infinity always has parentheses. Okay, so go ahead, once again, get those steps down, make sure you kind of understand it, and be ready in class.